Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. It is time for your weekly video from me. We have recently talked about sunscreen with it getting warmer outside. So now I'm going to go into bug sprays and insect repellents, which we all love living here in Indiana. It's one of the important things. So today I'm going to discuss application and ingredients. Next week, I will focus on actual products and examples of specific products and brands. So I didn't want to overwhelm you because I think these videos can give you a lot of information. So we just need to do little bits at a time. So ingredients and application today. So ingredients I like to look for that have been well studied and have low safety concerns. We're looking for number 1, DEET. Number 2, picaridin. Number 3, IR3535, which has a super long name that I'm not going to go through. So that's just the main ingredient. I just call it that and we'll stick with that. So when you hear me talk about percentages with each of these, it's referring to like the concentration and how long the application will last, its effectiveness. So you're going to hear me throw out, like, I'll go ahead and start. So the first one, DEET, for example, DEET 10%. That is typically like the max I would use on just a regular setting would be DEET 10% concentration. So if you look at the bottle, you'll see that. Less than 7% has not been shown to be as great and effective with repellent with the mosquitoes and the ticks. So that's why you kind of want to stay in that 7 to 10% range. Now, there are times when you are going to be okay going above that 10% and going to like the DEET 20 to 30%. That might be called like deep woods or something. We'll go through brands next week, but that's going to be when you are going into the deep woods or you're in a highly dense area where you know there's a lot of Lyme disease with mosquitoes or ticks, Zika outbreaks. If you're going into the areas like that, that's where you're going to want to use those higher concentrations and percentages. So also DEET is very effective. It's been studied for a long time. And so it is a good product to use. It can cause damage to some plastics and some fabrics, so just be aware of that. The next one is picaridin, and the max percentage with this would be about 20%. 5 to 10% can work for about 5 to 12 hours, which is really good. So staying on that lower percentage is fine to do. It was shown, though, in some studies that really low, that 5%, was not shown to work as well. So again, maybe stick with that slightly higher percentage, maybe around that like 10% for that specific ingredient. It is odorless, so there's no smell to it. Like you notice with DEET, it's got a very strong smell, and it does not damage any type of plastic or other products that they've seen. The third one is that IR3535. Max percentage you want to use with that would be 20%. Less than 10% has been shown to not be as effective as well in studies. So go ahead and stick with those teen numbers somewhere between 10 and 20%. I just tried to provide you guys with that max, and no, you don't need to be buying this really high concentration of insect repellent unless you're going to a very an area with significant tick-borne illnesses. So, like I said, this IR3535, it's well studied in Europe. It can also damage some fabrics and products as well when you put the spray directly on it, just like you can see with other products too. If you're looking for a more like natural formulation, these are things that are going to contain like cedar, citronella, lemongrass, rosemary. These ones are hit or miss on how well they work. You do have to apply much more frequently with these. So they have not been well studied because they are more natural. But if you are looking for a more natural approach, I'm going to go over some brands of these that I like next week. There are 2 that I like a lot, so keep those in mind. And one of them, it's the natural brand that we like a lot, is Oil of Lemon Eucalyptus. So that falls into that natural category and has been shown to work pretty well. But I don't think I'd recommend it if I was going into like a dense area where I knew there was a lot of Lyme disease present. That I'd probably take that more that DEET chemical or one of the picaridin or one of the other ones I mentioned. So I think that's everything for the specific ingredients. Oh, very, very important. I almost forgot this. Very important. So if you do one that's an oil of lemon eucalyptus, this is not okay for kids under age 3. I will say bug sprays and insect repellents in general, we don't want to do in kids and infants, not kids there, but we don't want to do those in infants. The other ones, so the D and the picaridin and the IR35 are okay to use on children. We just try and avoid them in babies like 6 months and under. But oil of the lemon eucalyptus, not for kids under age 3. So sorry that was long. Just wanted to clarify that. The biggest thing now, I'm going to briefly hit on application because this video is getting long. So application, when you are doing spray, basically parents spray it in your hands, rub it around, and then put it on your kids. You don't want to just have your kids there and just spraying them because you don't want it inhaling it. Also, you don't want kids getting it on their hands because their hands go in their mouth and then they're eating bug spray. So it's best if, as the parent, we try and just apply it to them. It is fine to put on top of their clothing. Just know sometimes some clothes can get damaged, but it's fine to spray it on top of the clothing. Also, if you're putting it on with sunscreen, sunscreen goes on first and then let that dry, and then you can put the insect repellent on top. Make sure everybody washes their hands, washes their body before bed. Nobody should be going to bed with all these chemicals on their body. So I think that's everything. I'm sorry that was a very dense video, but I wanted to try and get it all in. And like I said, next week I'm going to hit on specific brands that I like and recommend. If you have any comments, questions, list them below. Okay, bye guys. Have a good week.